All right. Thursday today, let's go a little bit into the parasha and understand a little bit the Heilige Parasha and the message that the Rabbeinu Shalom is telling us and speaking to us on this parasha. Reminds me of what I said by the Heilige Baal HaTanya Zutza. We made a gemodik of Farbrengen. I enjoyed it very much. Very warm, very geschmack. And I mentioned the Heilige Baal HaTanya once said that every parasha in the Torah wasn't just set then for that generation and telling the story of what happened, but it rather is a message for every single one of us in our lives, in whatever we're going through. And often, in the tzaddikim, that people would go with their issues, their problems, their situations, their challenges, and say what's going on, and the tzaddik would open up the parasha and say, look, in this week's parasha I find an answer. In this week's parasha I find an eitzah. So, I don't think I can do that, but I can try and find the message from this week's parasha, which I believe does pertain to many of us at many times in our lives, and I want to speak this over, and it's also a shtickle that I learned with Aaron Dov as well, so I enjoyed it very, very much, and I said that I want to say it over with the Olim as well, so that's going to be Gavaldik. So let's start like this. We know this week's parasha, we've got many of the Gavaldik Amakas, the plagues Moshe Rabbeinu brought down to Mitzrayim to try and persuade Paro, even though his heart was hardened, v'chulei. But there is a specific idea which is a very simple idea, and often it's the simple ideas in the parasha that are the most meaningful and that could talk to us in a very real way. The pasuk says in Perek Zayin pasuk Chof, "Vayasu kein Moshe v'Aaron." Moshe v'Aaron did kashet tziva Hashem, that which was commanded, instructed to them by the Rabbeinu Shalom. Yorim b'mata, picked up the stick, Yachas hasamayim, hit the water, Shebiyah that was over there, Le'eni Paro in front of Paro, Le'eni Avodov, the Avocha kol hamayim, Shebiyah Dam. And as we know, everything turned to Dam. That, by the way, is a sugya b'fnei atzmoi. The very fact that Moshe Rabbeinu himself didn't do it, but it had to go through Aaron. That was the idea of Hakoros HaToiv. Even though the Nile is not a human being, has no feelings, but Hakoros HaToiv, as we've mentioned many times here before, is for ourselves. Hakoros HaToiv is not for Yenim, it's not for somebody else, it's for us to express our Hakoros HaToiv, and that's our obligation, right? For example, you can give someone something and they'll say, no, don't buy me anything, I don't want anything, right? I've had that many times with people that have helped at yeshiva. We'll buy them something, we'll give them something, right? And they'll say, why are you buying something for me? Why are you giving something for me, right? And I'll say, listen here, the Hakoros HaToiv is my obligation. Whether or not you deserve it, whether you want it, whether you'll use it, it's irrelevant. I need to have and express my Hakoros HaToiv for what you've done, okay? And that's the Hakoros HaToiv that Moshe Rabbeinu had to show himself, the fact that he got saved by the water. But that's the sugya. And then the Torah continues. They did the same thing as well. So as we know, Paro's heart was hardened, specifically for the reason, as the Rishonim already tell us, is because the Rabbeinu Shalom wanted to perform the Gavaldik Nisim that he did in Mitzrayim in order to show, like the Ramban says at the end of Parashas Bo, to show the godless of the Rabbeinu Shalom and make a tremendous Kiddush Hashem and show who's running the world. And then it says like this, very interesting. It's like a day of work, you come home, Paro came home, imagine his wife says to him, my dear Paro, how was your day today? How was it in the palace? What happened today? Cool day? Anything interesting happened? Yeah, a couple of Jews in there, a couple of guys with the big beards walked in, sticks, and make things to blood and stuff. Yeah, a normal day, all in a day's work. He didn't even process it. And that's what Torah says. He didn't even pay attention even to this. I think the Torah is telling us a very important lesson for so many things. That specifically over here, why did Paro not get any impression? Why is it that nothing got changed in his mind and his heart? That means he never stopped to think for a moment, hold on a minute, how did they do that? There's no way they did that on their own. There must be a higher force. There must be a Rabbeinu Shalom. But he didn't. He didn't think about it. He never thought about the tachlis of the makas. He never thought about the repercussions that it was having on him, on his nation, on his land, one of the most powerful nations in the world. And what did God want from him? He never thought about it. And there is a very, very important message in Avodas Hashem over here, which I think is important. The Ramchal, in Mesilas Yesharim, and in a minute we'll read another shtickle in Mesilas Yesharim, but the Ramchal, in his beginning of Mesilas Yesharim, says that what he's about to write in Mesilas Yesharim can only be really taken for reality and changed and improved and improvised and everything in a person's life if he thinks about it. And if he reads it again and again and again. And by the way, when people come over and like, oh, I finished Mesilas Yesharim, I finished Orchos Tzadikim. You heard those guys? What does that mean? Most Sfarim are not there just to read and finish. Most Sfarim are to be able to implement in our lives. Because the only way we can actually affect change in our lives is by stopping and thinking. A Bacha, recently I was sitting with him and we were talking about one Nakuda. We were talking about the idea of changing. The idea of changing a person's self. I don't know what to change. I don't know if I have anything to change. And he wasn't saying it's perfect, but so I told him, do me a favor, go for a walk. Go for a walk with yourself. Not with anybody else. Not with your AirPods. Just you and yourself. And just go for a walk and start to think. Think about your life. Think about where it could be heading to. Think about where you want it to get to. Think about all the things in your life. The fact that you're in yeshiva, the fact that you want to change yourself, the fact that you want to come out a different person. You need to think. He thought I was crazy. Well, I'm going to talk to myself. Like, you don't talk to yourself, think. And there's a very, very important message over here. The whole reason that Paro never changed, never recognized what was going on is because, as the Torah says, he never thought about it. And that is something amazing. I want to mention to you a paragraph in the first chapter, first paragraph of Mesilas Yesharim. I learned this together with Aaron Dov. Beautiful idea. And the truth is, I've learned Mesilas Yesharim a number of times, and I don't think I ever came up with this idea, which is a very simple idea. But I think it's an idea that we were just thinking together, how can we apply this, how can we make this Lamaisa, which is so important, by the way. When you learn anything, whether it's Gemara, whether it's Halacha, whether it's Musa, Ashkaf, or Chumash, think about it. Stop and think. What does this mean to me? How can I apply this in my life? So we learn the paragraph like this. The paragraph says, Vihine, right at the beginning of Parak Aleph, the purpose why the person was created in the world, why the Rabbeinu Shalom put us into this world, was to have a delight in the Rabbeinu Shalom, and to benefit from the ziv of the Shechina, the divine presence. That is the real tainug, the true tainug. It's the greatest pleasure that a person can ever experience. But the only place that a person can really experience this incredible delight and incredible pleasure is in the next world, not in this world. And therefore, you're created in this world with a design to get to the next world and accomplish that goal. Now, and as he says, the way to get there is this world. So I was discussing it, we were learning it together with Aaron Dov, and we were thinking, what does that mean? So really we're here for the next world, but we're placed in this world in order to get to the next world. So I came up with a simple idea, which I think is so simple, so easy, and I'm sure every single one of you have thought about this and know this. But like the Mesilas Yesharim says in Akdama, he's not saying any chidushim, he's saying things you know anyway, but you need to hear them again. And we came up with this idea. Aaron Dov, correct me if I'm wrong. I think I'm saying it correct. If it's true that the Rabbeinu Shalom created us in this world to be able to do mitzvahs, to learn Torah, to do all the things that we're meant to be doing, so that we get to the next world of the greatest, highest pleasure and delight of being together with the Shechina and enjoying the Ziv HaShechina, so that means that the Rabbeinu Shalom has created us with the parents that we need, with the type of home that we need, with the environment and location that we grew up in, with the school that we went to, with the rebbeim that we had, with the siblings that we had, with the friends that we have, with the health situation that we have, with the money that we have, with everything that's in our entire lives, from the moment we were born until the moment of today and beyond, we were created specifically with that in mind. Meaning I gave an example. I think this is a good example. Imagine you want to open up a business and you want to create cars. You'd like to make cars. You have a new idea. Wow, it's going to be Gavaldic. This car is going to sell. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to make cars. Okay, what are we going to do? So I purchase a huge plot of land and I build a massive factory on this land. Huge factory. Big place, plenty of land. We can make cars there. Gavaldic. I put into this factory, water fountains. And then I hire workers. And then I say, all right, guys, off you go. Go make cars. Still all excited. They got themselves a job. They know a little bit how to do things. They walk into the factory. Huh? There's water fountains over here. What do you want us to do? I don't know. Just make cars. That would be ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. If you want to make cars, you need to buy metal and you need to buy machinery and you need to buy all sorts of things to be able to make cars. How do you want your workers to make cars if they don't have the necessities and they don't have the materials to be able to do that? So it hit me. If the Rabbeinu Shalom put us into the world for what the Mesilas Yesharim says, with the end goal of getting close to Hashem and getting Olam Haba, which is for eternity, and we're only in this world for 120 years, then it means He put us in the world with the tools that we need to get there. So how many people have ever thought, or maybe even dared to say, you know something, if I would have been born in a different household, with different parents, with different rebbeim, with different parnasa situation, with different health situation, with different everything, you know how good I would be? Then Rabbi Mesilas Yesharim, I would get to Olam Haba. No. That's the problem. That's the problem. The problem is that we never stop to think this idea that we are here on this world with exactly what we need to get to our goal. And the goal is Olam Haba. And the goal is to get closer to Rabbeinu Shalom. So whichever way we were created, with the personality that we have, with our strengths, with our weaknesses, sorry, don't want to break it to you, but yes, you have weaknesses. With everything you were created for, is for the purpose that you need, that God says, I know what you need, and I know how you're going to get there. This is how you're going to get there. By having what you need, with the parents, with the rebbeim, with the parnasa, with the house, with the siblings, with the rebbeim, with the teachers, with everything that you have, is exactly what you need to get to your goal. And it's something we have to think about. And it's something we have to recognize. Because at the end of the day, we have to realize we're here for a purpose. And we have to realize that we have to stop sometimes and think about that. Because that was Paro's mistake. You know, Reb Brevda, I heard this from Reb Brevda, he used to give a shurim in yeshiva. And when I was a bacha, Reb Brevda, Zatzal, unbelievable yid. His grandson was in the yeshiva also. So he came to speak and he mentioned a story. The story was, when he was a bacha, he was only an older man, but when he was a bacha, he had to go visit someone. He said over the story, he went to go visit someone. And for whatever reason it was a very dark place. There were no street lamps. The moon wasn't, it was a very dark place. Middle of the night, no one around. And he said, he tried to remember the be'erach, where the staircase was, and there was no light. It was pitch. It was complete darkness. So he held onto the wall, and he thought he was about to go straight, and there was a staircase right in front of him, and he didn't realize it. Now, as he took a step forward, which would have been to empty space, and he would have tripped and gone tumbling down. And who knows if anyone would have found him, seen him, realized whatever. For some reason, his foot tripped on something, and he stopped himself, and that stop caused him not to fall down the stairs, and who knows what would have happened. He claimed he would have died from it. It was a very steep staircase, and he would have tumbled down, and that would have been the end. Afterwards, he said to himself, that's it. He was a bach at the time. Avodas Hashem, that's it. It's a sign from God. I'm going to do something. I'm going to change myself. I'm going to be a different person. And he said, about a week later, he was the same person he was before. He came to the Chazon Ish, and he said, Rabbi, I don't understand. I just experienced an amazing thing. I cannot saw the Rabbeinu Shalom's Yad Hashem. You would have thought that I would have changed myself completely. But yeah, I didn't. I'm the same person I was before. And the Chazon Ish said, you should know. Just like the strength that you had to make that commitment after seeing it, the Yetzer Hara goes just as powerful to try and get in the other direction and say, nah, it's fine, go back to normal, everything's okay. And that's the problem. Often we see things, and we do see them if we look out for them, that should change us, that should make us into different people and better people. but we have to learn to implement something immediately. Because otherwise we're just like Paro. Tell you Mordechai Maisa. This, by the way, to me is a famous Maisa. So if you know it, too bad. And if you don't know it, Gewaldig. It's a Gewaldige Maisa. There was a Yid who unfortunately was not religious. A Bacha, he's not religious, doing his thing, traveling the world, wanting to see everything he could, enjoying his life, enjoying everything about what he could do. His brother, Haredi religious Jew, says to him, where are you going next? Are you traveling here, you're traveling there, you're going all over the world. Where are you going next? So I'm going to Israel. Going to Israel? Yeah. He says to his brother, calm down. I'm not going for religious reasons. I heard Eilat is gorgeous. And I heard that the Dead Sea is amazing. And I heard, there's lots of places over there that I want to go visit, that I want to see. I am not going for religious reasons. His brother says, would you do me one favor? Do me one favor. What do you want from me? There's a yeshiva called Eish HaTorah. Do me a favor. Go there and listen to one lecture. One, that's all. I will never ask you to do anything again. Never. Brother says, get out of here. I'm on religious stuff. That's not what I'm going to Israel for. I'm going to chill, going to have fun, take pictures, eat falafel. That's going to Israel, right? It's going to be gewaldig. His brother says, it drives him crazy every day. Every day he says to him, please, one lecture. I will never ask you a favor again. You'll never have to do anything for me again. He says, you know something? If it's going to make you feel good, and if it's going to get you off my back, that you will never ask me anything again, I will go to one lecture in Eish HaTorah. No problem. In fact, his brother is so excited. This is it. Turning point, religious. He's going to come out, Haredi Jew. It's going to be amazing. So he goes to Israel. On the last day of his tour, they told him to go to the Wailing Wall. The Wailing Wall, apparently the people are there, and you pray, and there's a wall, whatever. Okay, he doesn't know too much about things, didn't grow up so religious. Anyway, he says, okay, we'll go there the last day of the trip. And he's there, and he remembers, oh no, I told my brother, and I promised him that I would go to one place and listen to one lecture. I'm going to do it. He asked him, where's Eish HaTorah? They're like, oh, you're very lucky. It's right here, up the steps. He couldn't believe it. He wasn't going to travel there. But he's already there. All right, I'll go. I promised him, I'll do it. Oh, I'm a man of my word. Goes in, says, I need a class, I need a lecture. What's going on right now? Oh, there's a Gemara class starting right now. He says, okay, fine, no problem. Goes inside. The most boring class ever. They're learning Baba Metzia. They're learning Eni Metzias. They're talking about returning our objects. He's like, seriously? This is what my brother wanted me to hear? This is ridiculous. But you know what? A word's a word. It's a 45-minute lecture, 45-minute share. He sat there.